So the first thing we're going to go over today is how to add employees. So to find employees, we're going to go to Maintenance, Labor, and then the first line, Employees. So when you want to add a new employee, you want to go over to the right where it says New, and then this first line is going to be their POS number that they use to clock into the terminals. And then all you have to do is to fill the 3 X's on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and put the social. You don't have to put their full social in, but you can if you want to. And then last name and first name. Again, if you want to fill out the rest of this information for your records, you can, but it's not needed to move forward. At the bottom here, you have use magnetic cards. So if you're using mag cards for managers, you would have to flag this. And then as well as you're using fingerprint scanners, you can flag this as well. The next thing we're going to do is add the job that they're doing. So that's the third tab in. And then over to the right, we're going to click Add. And then we're going to use the drop down under Job Code and choose Server. And then the access level is also going to be Server. And then the next thing is the pay rate. If they are multiple job codes, you can keep clicking Add and add as many multiple job codes as they're using. So if they are a cashier, they get cashier access. If they're server, they get server access, bartender, bartender access. If they are a kitchen, busser, or barback, they would get no access. This allows them just to clock in and clock out without seeing the screen that servers and bartenders need. If you are a manager, there's a second step if the manager is using the Aloha Manager on the back of the house. So if they need to get into Aloha Manager to change pricing or update items, they're going to have a second step. So that second step would be users. So we're going to go to Maintenance, Labor, and then Users. And then we're going to go ahead and add a new member again. So I'm going to click New over to the right. I'm going to use that same number, so 555. And then you have to put this in twice. So POS employee number at the bottom here, 555. And then first name and last name. And then at the bottom here where it says security role, you're going to add manager, owner. All gives you access to pretty much everything. So I'm just going to choose manager. And then over to the left here, you're going to choose your store. And then just use the right arrows to put it over on the right side. Once you're done, you just click save over to the right. And this is going to allow them access to Aloha Manager. This is only for managers. This does not need to be done for servers, bartenders, bussers. Again, just only for managers or owners. All right, the next thing we're going to get into is items. This is where you add items to your database. So we're going to go to Maintenance, Menu, Items. And then your database is going to look the same every screen that you go to. You're always going to use this big white toolbar at the top here. And your database is going to start with your daily specials. If you scroll down a little bit, it's going to go to your appetizers, soups, salads, entrees. And then if you scroll down to the way bottom, you're going to get to your liquor. So your bottled beer, your draft beers, your vodkas is going to be at the very bottom. But in the middle of the screen, just going to scroll a little bit faster here, you're going to have your modifiers as well. So you have side mods, cook styles, sauce mods. This is where you would add any new modifiers that you would like to add to your database. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new appetizer item. So I'm going to scroll to the appetizer section, click on a new and available item. So I'm going to choose this one. And then I'm going to type in wings. I'm just going to type this in and then I'll go over what each one means. So you have to type it in 3 times. So the short name is what appears on the button on the POS. The chit name is what goes to the kitchen. And then the long name is what the guest sees in the receipt. So you want to make that look nice if you're abbreviating anything. And then the next thing you want to do is go to the modifier tab, so second tab in. And the database should be set up with all your modifiers already attached, so like your generic app mods, generic salad mods. But if you create any new modifiers, you can go ahead and attach any of the modifiers in sections 1 through 10 down here. So once you close the drop down, it's going to show you all the modifiers that you currently have created in your account. So say this item needed a meat temp, which it doesn't, but we'll just add it just in case. So add a meat temp. And then the last thing you want to do is go to the pricing tab. And the last line here is where we're going to put the price on the item. And then once you're done adding the item, you're going to click save over to the right. So if you're making multiple changes, this box is always going to pop up. I would just recommend clicking this box down here and then clicking yes, so then the box doesn't pop up for future changes. All right, so once you add the item to the database, and then you can go ahead and add the button to the screen. So the buttons are called submenus. So we're going to go to maintenance, menu, and then submenu. And then again, we're always going to use this drop down at the top. So where it says course, you're going to choose which menu item that you need to add that menu to. So I'm going to click on lunch appetizers because I just created an appetizer item. And then you want to go to the layout tab. So the second tab in here. And then this is going to show you all your buttons. So to create a new button, you just click on any white space available. So it doesn't matter. And then over to the right where it says none, you can type in that item that you just created. If you don't want to type in something and you're searching for something, you can just use the drop down and search for it this way. But it is much simpler to just type the item in. Once you type the item in, you can right click and then drag that button anywhere you would like on the page. Now on this page, this is where you will also get rid of buttons that you're no longer using. So if you're no longer doing the wings, you just right click on that button and click delete. You never want to go into items and delete the item from there. You only want to delete the items on the submenus itself. So if you ever bring that item back, you can simply just come to that menu item again, click on the blank space, and find that item in your database. You're never going to run out of spacing. If you need more spacing in your database, you can call the help desk and we can add more spacing to each section for you. Once you're done adding the item, you're going to click save over to the right, and your button's created. Now, something similar is your modifier groups look the same as submenus, just that they're all your modifier groups. So when you go to maintenance, menu, modifier groups, again, we're going to use this drop down at the top where it says meet temperature, and it's going to show you all the modifiers created in your account. So if I go to meet temperature, go to the second tab in layout, it's going to show me all my buttons just like it did in submenus. So same idea. We're going to click on any white space available. And then over to the right is where you're going to click and type in any modifier that you would like. So say like lettuce. I know that doesn't make sense with meat temperatures, but just to get an idea, you can add in any item over to the right. And then again, right click and drag it anywhere you want. So new space over to the right where it says item, just click on anything that you want, type it in, find it in your drop-down list, and then add it to the screen. If the item is not in your drop-down list, you would then have to add the item to the items page. So in the beginning, when we did the short name, the chit name, and the long name, you would need to create a modifier in that page first, and then create the submenu button. Again, if you're not using something in that modifier group, right-click and cut it off. All right, and the last thing for the menus is the menu itself. So that's the menu down the middle of the screen. So if you go to maintenance, menu, and then menus, it's going to show you, again, second tab in layout. It's going to show you all those buttons that appear in the middle of the screen when you log in. So if you're not using a menu at this time anymore, so say you're doing a happy hour or a Valentine's Day, and you want to take that off, just find that menu. So I'm just going to do entrees right now. Right click and cut it off. If you don't like this gap in between, you can just always move your items by right click and dragging everything around. So if you don't like the order they're in, just keep right clicking and dragging which order you would like to put those in. When you want to add a new submenu to this page, again, always find a white space so you can page down, page up, find that white space, and then over to the right is where you're going to add your new submenu menu. Again, I'm just going to cut this off, and then when you're done, you always want to hit save over to the right. Does anybody have any questions about adding the items to the database or adding buttons? If you have any questions, you could put them in the chat. No? Okay, I'm going to move forward. So the next thing we're going to go over is item routing. This is where you can change the routing of the items to the kitchen. So again, your database is going to look the same everywhere. It's going to start with your daily specials, appetizer, soup, salad, liquor at the bottom. So if you want to change a new item, so say we're going to change these meatballs. If you don't want it to go to a certain printer, you just use the drop down right next to that item and choose which printer you would like it to go to. Once you click save over to the right, it's a real-time update, so you don't need to refresh the system. Once you click save, it's going to automatically go to that new printer group. If you're doing multiple items at a time, you can click the first item, hold down Shift, and choose the last item. Use the drop-down and change all the printers at once. Again, always click Save after you're done. All right, the next thing is the floor plan. So we're going to go to Maintenance, Screen Designer, Table Service Screen Designer. We're going to choose Work with Panels. And then we're going to go to Panel. And the first one here is Open Panel. This is going to show you all your floor plans that you currently have at your restaurant. So right now I'm just going to choose on Dining, so number 6, and click OK. Now this is going to show you all your tables at your restaurant. I always drag this box next to it down a little bit so it makes it a little bit longer. If you want to move any tables around, right-click, drag that table anywhere you would like on the screen. If you need to change the number, click on the table number, and then over to the right, you're going to see table number, and it's going to have a drop-down. Just choose the new number that you would like for that table. The second one down is orientation. So this is where you can make the table diagonal if you would like. You just put in 45, and that will make the table diagonal for you. And if you want to make it bigger or smaller, click on the table, right-click, and drag it out or drag it in. Once you're done adding your tables, to save it, you're going to go to Panel, Save Panel. All right, the next thing we're going to go over is happy hour. So happy hours are done by price changes. So we're going to go to Maintenance, Pricing, and then Price Changes. Now, most databases do have a happy hour section already created. If yours is not, you can go ahead to the right and click New, name it happy hour, and then choose a start date, and then an end date. So we can just go very much in the future here just by clicking the arrows. We'll just stop here. All right, and then you're going to go to the second tab in where it says Items. And again, same database, daily specials, appetizers, soup, salads. So we're going to go down and find, let's just say we're doing a happy hour for appetizers. So you go ahead, find the appetizer section, put the new price in, and it's going to show you if it decreased over to the right. So I'm going to do everything $8. All right, and those are my happy hour prices. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save over to the right. Now to set this happy hour up for timing and days is called activation schedules. So we're going to go to Maintenance, System Settings, and then Activation Schedules. So activation schedules is where you're going to choose the days of the week and the time. So I currently set up 2 happy hours, a start and an end one. So my start happy hour, it's all in military time, by the way. So the start time is going to be right here. So put your military time in right there. And then you're going to choose days of the week. So right now I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you want to start at the beginning of the day, you can just simply click this box and it's going to start as soon as your business opens. And then with happy hours, you also have to end your happy hour. So the next one down that I created is end happy hour. Again, I chose the same dates and then I put my ending time here at 5 o'clock. Now to get this activation set and rolling, we're going to go to event schedules. So maintenance, system settings, and then event schedule. They're going to use a drop down at the top. You're going to find your happy hour event schedule. And this is where you're going to attach the timing. So right now, you have to add activate price change. So over to the right, you're going to have the arrow down. You're going to find activate price change. So it's the 4th one down. Click OK. And then you have to add it twice. So I'm going to go ahead and click the arrow down again. And then click disable price change. So this is going to start my happy hour and end my happy hour. Once you add those, you click and add the activation schedules that you just created. So you use the drop down, find the one that you created. So I did my start happy hour. And then to end it, you just do end happy hour. Now at the bottom here, you want to make sure you're choosing the happy hour to make sure that that's linked to this event. So on the price change down here, you want to use the drop down and choose the happy hour that you're choosing for that time. The revenue center is this if you want the happy hour showing at the bar, dining, or the entire restaurant. You can choose that for that specific happy hour.
Hey, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Jr. has a question. He's asking, is there a way for the name on the credit slip to say the server's name that waited on them rather than the cashier?
Yeah, so that's under the employee. So if you're using a generic number for like cashiers and the cashier number is just called cashier, it's going to show on the slip like that. So if I just quickly go back to employees. So this goes by the number that they're using. So if you have a regular cashier number, so like I do here, so 102. So if the first name and last name says cashier, that's what's going to show on the check. If they have a nickname, the nickname overrides the first and last name. So if you have that nickname in as cashier, it's going to show as cashier. So just make sure you're naming that directly. So if you're using regular employee numbers, then just make sure they're having their first and last name on there. Again, if you do use a nickname, that will override the first and last name. All right, does anybody have any questions with back of the house or anything specific that they would need to go over?
So Bill said that he doesn't use a generic number. After this call, Bill, I can send you an email and we can have our help desk team or Nicole work with you on your specific case. So I'll follow up with you immediately after this meeting regarding the credit slip. You're welcome. All right, Nicole, if there's anything else you'd like to cover for the back of the house, go ahead. If not, would you like to go to the front of the house or takeout?
Yeah, let's do front of the house if nobody has any questions more for the back of the house. Was there any
Go right
other
ahead.
questions or no?
I think we're all good. Go ahead to the front of the house. Thank you.
All right, so front of the house. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and log in. When you log in with your employee number, you always hit OK to the right. And when you log in, it's gonna show your floor plan. To start a new table, you're gonna click on any table that you would like. So I'm gonna click on table 11. And then you can choose how many guests are sitting at that table. So I'm gonna choose 2. And then click OK at the bottom. Make it a little bit bigger. All right, so this is how your screen should look. So at the top here, you have done, send, to go, don't make, and add on. So if I click on any of the menu items down the middle here, so this is going to show me my course, my beverages, my appetizers, soup, salad, entrees. And then again, if you scroll down to the bottom, it's going to show you all your liquors. So I'm going to go ahead and add an item and then kind of go over the buttons at the top here. So this particular site has seat numbers. So when they put an item in, they do have to choose a seat number. So when you send the order, you can send it 3 different ways. You can click done at the top, which will log you out of the screen completely. You can hit send, which will leave you on this exact page, or you can hit the table on the top left. So if you hit the table on the top left, that will just bring you back to the floor plan to put your new order in for next table. So again, 3 different ways to send: the send button, the done button, and then again, the floor plan table button on the top left. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit send. Now at the bottom, if you want to repeat the item, you can just hit repeat and it's going to repeat that item on the check. If you highlight the item, it's going to repeat that highlighted item. But if you don't highlight anything, it's just going to repeat the last item on that check. For modifiers, you want to go ahead and click mods at the bottom here. So right next to the delete button. Once you click mods, it should pop up with all your modifiers. At the top here, you have no, extra, on-site, and light. If you would like to use these, you have to use these first prior to choosing a modifier button. So you can't just hit Crostini. You would have to do no first and then Crostini. Otherwise, it's not going to apply to the check. At the bottom left, you have a keyboard. This is where you can type in anything to the kitchen. It does max out at about 15 characters. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And then I'm going to hit send again. If you want to print a check for a guest, all you would have to do is hit print at the bottom here, bottom middle. And then again, here we're going to go to the top. So if you want to split a check, you can click the split button in the top middle. And once you split, you can hit add at the bottom left here, as many splits as you want. So if someone wants to split it 4 ways, 5 ways, 6 ways, hopefully not more than 3 typically, but if they do, you can split it as many ways as you want. Once you hit add, all you have to do is click that item and then tap the new check that you want to add it to. Once you're done adding that, you can just hit OK. And you can toggle between the 2 checks at the bottom here, bottom left. All right, if something didn't go to the kitchen or they need to redo it, they have a don't make button. So you would just add the item to the screen. And when you want to send that to the kitchen, you just want to add don't make. This also applies to go. So if it's a to-go order, they should be hitting to go and not send. So it shows up in the kitchen as to go. All right, for transferring checks, you simply go to the check that you need to go to. So I'm going to just click out of here, go to a different table. I'm going to click transfer at the bottom middle. Choose the employee that I want to transfer to. So I just had myself in here as twice. Once you choose the employee, you're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then choose the guest that you're transferring. So it's 2 guests. And then OK again. One second. All right, so we're going to hit transfer again at the bottom. Choose the employee that you're transferring to. And then once you hit transfer, you're done with that. So the person that you're transferring to now has to clock in and accept that transfer. So I'm going to go ahead and log in as that other employee. When that new employee logs in, they're going to have a little notification box that pops up saying, hey, you have a new transfer coming in. You can just click this box away. They're going to go to WWT screen at the bottom right. The transfer is going to show up on the left side of the screen. You're going to click that transfer. You're going to choose new order at the bottom left. And then you're going to choose it to either come in as a tab or you can just keep it as the table that it is. So I'm going to choose table. Keep it as the same number, so table 1. I'm going to click OK at the bottom right. And then it's just going to confirm the guest count. I'm going to choose OK again. At this point, now I've accepted the table and the transfer is over. So again, when you do transfers, the person goes to the bottom of the check, they hit transfer, and that first person is done. The second person logs in, goes to that WWT screen, accepts the transfer on the left-hand side, and just chooses it either as a tab or a table. For managers, if you want to avoid anything, you can highlight the item on the check itself, and then just simply hit the delete button at the bottom, the middle bottom of the screen. Once you hit delete, it's going to ask you for a few reasons for the void. So if it's a test, if the customer waited too long, if it's 86, whatever the reason may be. When you want to go and close a check, you're going to close the check by choosing close at the bottom left. And then over to the right, it's going to show you all your payments. So you have cash and then all your credit cards, exact amounts. If they want to do a dollar amount, they can choose one of these dollar bills. If it's a credit card, you're going to choose the credit card itself. You're going to swipe the credit card and then you have to hit OK twice. So if you don't hit OK twice, it's just going to stay on the screen. So if you notice, there's 2 little arrows up here next to the dollar amount. So when I hit OK twice, it's going to move that arrow down and authorize the credit card. So again, you're choosing the credit card type, swiping that credit card, and then hitting OK twice to authorize it. If it's cash, you just simply hit cash and it's going to close it out and show you the change amount due to the customer. Now, once you tender the check out, this close button in the middle of the screen is going to pop up. You're going to go ahead and hit close, and that's going to officially close out that button and free up that table. Now at the bottom here, let me put in an actual item. All right, so at the bottom, we have equal pay. So equal pay means you can split the credit card how many ways that you want with different credit cards. So if you do choose to, I'm going to hit OK. And it's just going to separate that check twice with the same amount. All right, when you go and pay those checks out, you just choose the guest. You have to highlight guest 1, tender it out to a credit card or cash, and then choose guest 2 and tender it out the same way. You have a tax exempt button at the bottom right. This is for people that are tax exempt and have their numbers with them. They do have to have a valid ID or it will not accept it in the system. Over to the top right, you have a comp button. This is going to show you all your comps. You should have a comp check, a comp item, and then just generic comps regular for your restaurant. So if you do a comp item, well, I already did it for a split check. So if you do a comp item, it's going to take you to a screen where you choose the items itself to comp. If you do comp check, it's just going to comp the entire check. If you do a enter percentage, so down in the middle of the screen, or an enter dollar amount, you can put in a percentage or a dollar amount and it will comp that much off the check. This delete button at the bottom left is just to delete a credit card if the person used the wrong credit card or maybe it was applied to the wrong check. You can hit that delete button and delete that credit card off. The adjust button is also for credit cards. So if you swipe the card too early and you need to adjust the amount, you would hit that and apply the correct amount to that credit card. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go into manager functions. So we're going to go to functions in the bottom right. And then the first one here is reports. So this is going to show you any report that you want to look at for that day. If it's for days past, you have to go into the back of the house and look for your reports that way. So this will show you your restaurant sales, which you can summarize at the bottom. So summary, net, sales, labor, payments, comps, whatever you want to look at, just choose that button. And then you can hit done at the bottom. Clock in, clock out times is going to show you all the employees that are clocked in at what time they clocked in. Server sales is going to show you all your server sales at that time. So they can do the average an hour, average guest. Open items is going to show you everything that server's doing at that time. You also have down at the bottom left a drawer report. It's going to show you what's in the drawer at that exact amount. Employees clocked in. This is going to print a slip and just show you all the employees currently clocked in. Your product mix at the bottom right. It's going to show you everything that you sold at that time, the quantity, and the price that it's shown at. And then pretty much any reports that you want to see again for today is going to show under this report screen. So the next I'm going to go into is financial. The first thing we're going to go over is item availability. So over in the top right, item availability. This is where you can 86 an item or put a countdown on something that might sell out soon. So I'm going to go ahead and find that item that I need. So say it's an appetizer. You go to that item, I'm going to choose mussels. You can choose not available, and this will make the button not available for the servers or bartenders to use. Or you can put a limit on it. So if you use these arrows to the left, it's going to go up by 1s. If you use these arrows to the right, they're going to go up by 10s. So once you hit OK, it's going to show you a little number in the bottom left here. It's a little pink number saying 26. So once you sell 26 of those, it's just going to 86 the button so nobody else can use it. You can also do voids and transfers through here, but again, it's much easier if you just do it on the screen itself. The third one down to the left, you got open close check. This is where you can open any closed check that the server may close too early or if you need to look at something. So you choose open, close, check, find the employee, hit OK, and it's going to show you all those checks that you currently closed. Once you hit OK, it's going to open that check under that server or bartender's number. Reprint check is the same thing as an open check, but it's open. So if you want to reprint a check, click on the employee and then find that check, and then you can reprint any check for whatever reason that you need. Resend to the kitchen is if they didn't get this, the kitchen didn't get that chit. So you can go to resend to kitchen. Again, everything's pretty much the same steps. So find that employee, find the check, and it's going to reprint to the kitchen. Right down in the middle, you got view tables. This will show you all your employees with every table that's currently open. You can click on anything that you want, and then over to the right bottom, you can click view, and it's going to show you that check. So when it was open, how many times it's been printed, totals, and everything that's on that check. Assign menu. So again, bottom left, assign menu is if you have a happy hour, and maybe you only want to apply that happy hour to a certain table, maybe your friend's here, or for whatever reason, you need to assign a certain menu to a certain table. You click on the employee, click OK, choose the table that you want to apply that menu to. Click OK again. And then over to the left, it's going to show all the menus in your system that are created. So if you have happy hours, if you have St. Patrick's Day menu, whatever it may be, it's going to show over here to the left. Choose that menu and then just hit OK over to the right. All right, and then the next one we have is employee. So if you go to the top right, change password means or is for mag cards. So if you're using mag cards, you want to hit change password, swipe that mag card twice, and that will assign that mag card to that number. Clear password is again for mag cards. So if they use the wrong number or for whatever reason something got messed up, you would hit clear password, and then they would now be able to assign the new mag card to this number. All right, and then over to the left, you have delete clockout and delete checkout. So this is typically for servers or bartenders who forgot to put their tips in. So if they forget to put their tips in, make sure they do not clock back in. Once they clock back in, it starts a whole new shift and that day's over. So there's no way to open all those checks with the credit cards unless you go into the back of the house in the EDC and reapply that tip to every credit card manually. So again, if they forget to put their tips in, you're going to go here, you're going to delete their clock out, and then delete their checkout. This will reopen all their checks so they can put their tips in. So you would delete the clock out first, and then delete the checkout. Edit clock in. This is where they can edit their times. So say somebody forgot to clock in or they clocked in late. Choose the employee, hit OK, and then they can adjust their times here. Again, this is only for that day. It's for days past, would have to be done in the back of the house. Reprint clockout, reprint checkout is if the manager loses a clockout or a checkout, you can just reprint it here. If you have a big restaurant and somebody left their number open, maybe on the other side of the restaurant, and they need to get in on their number, you can just come here and hit release locked employee, and this will release them from the terminal that they're locked on. All right, and then finally, excuse me, and then finally, sorry, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. All right, and then finally we have system. This is where you can reroute printer groups. Excuse me. So if you have a printer that's currently offline, oh my goodness, give me 1 second. All right, I think I'm back. Okay, so if you have a printer that's currently offline or you need to route something on the fly, say you're not using all those printers that day or a printer's offline for whatever reason, you can come to System, and then if you go to Reroute Printer Group, you can reroute what other printer that is offline or you need to change. So if your cold printer is not working for whatever reason, click on the cold printer, and then at the bottom, you're going to do Change Routing and choose the printer that you would like it to route to. When you reroute printers, you only want to do it in printer group settings. So when you come to the screen, don't get confused with reroute printer, the first one. That's only for us. So you only want to use reroute printer group if one of your printers goes down. If a printer does go down, I do recommend just unplugging the cabling and the power cord. Plug it back in. Once you plug it back in, if you hold the feed button down and the start button, a slip should pop out with the network ID saying the printer is offline or online. If it's offline, you just need to give our help desk a call just to get the printer back on the network. But pretty much, most of the times, if you unplug the cabling and the power cord and reboot it, it should come back on for you. All right, does anybody have specific questions for front of the house that they want to go over or something that I missed? Please let me know in the comments.